Take a moment to imagine the world beneath your feet, but this time erase the wheel from it entirely. No carts rolling across cobblestone streets, no bicycles cruising through alleyways, no airplanes taking off, no gears ticking away inside your wristwatch. In this alternate history, humanity still dreams, still builds, still strives, but without one of its most fundamental inventions. The question is, what path would we carve if the circle never turned? Or to keep it simple, what if the wheel was never invented? In our timeline, the wheel was more than a tool, it was a turning point. First shaped in Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE, it didn't start as a transport device, but as a potter's wheel. From there, it spun its influence across trade, transportation, and timekeeping itself. But in this world, something subtle shifted. Perhaps early humans found more promise in dragging sledges over snow, or relied on beasts of burden rather than inventing anything new. Or maybe the environments we first settled were so rugged and mountainous that round movement never made sense to begin with. Whatever the reason, the wheel remained a thought that never crystallized. And so, the timeline forked. Empires still rose, but they grew inward, not outward. Trade became a local affair. Cities evolved to be denser, closer knit, relying on precision instead of mobility. The first real cost of a missing wheel was distance. When you can't roll, you drag. Civilizations in this world developed sophisticated methods of transport without ever discovering the circle. Instead of wagons and carriages, roads were laid with smooth stone slabs, where goods could be hauled on reinforced sledges lubricated with water, oil, or animal fat. Animals like oxen and camels weren't just helpful, they were essential infrastructure. Moving anything heavier than a person required brute force and patience. A journey of 10 miles wasn't a commute, it was a logistical operation. Waterways became sacred. Rivers were not just geographical features, but the lifelines of nations. If a city had no river, it had no power. Boats replaced carts, and docks became more valuable than gold. The world didn't stop turning. But without wheels, it turned a little slower. Without wheels, the consequences weren't limited to how we moved. They reached into how we built, how we measured, and even how we understood time. No wheels meant no gears. And without gears, we never created the mechanical clock. Time in this world remained fluid, measured by sunrises, by tides, by instinct. There were no ticking seconds, no synchronized minutes, no industrial schedules built on the rhythm of machines. This delay cascaded through invention. The Industrial Revolution, if it came at all, was sluggish, clunky, and powered by inefficient alternatives. Instead of rotary engines, societies experimented with oscillating pumps, pressurized pneumatics, and steam-based pistons. Progress still happened, but it was awkward, less elegant, always wrestling against inefficiency. And yet, despite these limitations, humans adapted. Even in the sky, the absence of the wheel left its mark. Without wheeled landing gear, the mechanics of flight had to be completely reimagined. Early aircraft launched from ramps or magnetic catapults, lifted by explosive force rather than gentle acceleration. Landings weren't smooth rollouts. They were plunges into padded nets or splashdowns in vast artificial lakes. Airports resembled shipyards more than transit hubs, and flying remained a niche pursuit. On land, trains as we know them never arrived. Instead, magnetic levitation technology emerged earlier, but only in select, wealthy regions where the cost could be justified. Elsewhere, travel remained a matter of foot, hoof, or glide. Humanity kept moving forward, but always against the friction of a missing invention. And yet, across this unfamiliar earth, the human spirit burned just as brightly. The arts found new rhythms. Cultures still thrived, shaped by necessity and ingenuity rather than convenience. Cities rose not outward along roads, but upward, stacked like living towers. Our myths, our religions, our relationships with nature all evolved differently. And in this version of the world, we didn't build machines that mirrored the wheel. We built systems that mimicked the flow of water, the pulse of breath, the oscillation of waves. Progress was not lost, it was reimagined. But with every stone lifted by hand, every mile dragged instead of rolled, one question lingered. How much of what we call civilization was made possible, not by the will to survive, but by the elegance of a simple turning circle? So now that you've seen a world without the wheel, how different do you think your life would be? Would we have ever reached the stars? Would time still be ticking on your wrist? Or would we be living in tightly packed villages, never having felt the wind through a car window? Let us know in the comments. What do you think the next best invention would have been if the wheel never showed up? If you enjoyed this dive into alternate history, give the video a like and don't forget to subscribe. We've got a lot more what-ifs waiting to turn your world upside down.